Every last name tells a story. For millions of people around the world, that story is written in Italian. But for a huge number of families with names like Lombardy, Grassi, or Galli, the story they think they know is missing its first, most dramatic chapter. What if I told you the true origin of your name wasn't just Italian, but has a secret history that traces back to a fierce Germanic tribe of Longbeards? Today, we're unlocking that hidden story, and the answer might just change how you see your own family history. Before there was an Italy, there was the crumbling Roman Empire, and into that chaos, new peoples emerged. One of these groups was a Germanic people whose origins are still debated. Legends recorded by the 8th century historian Paul the Deacon say they came from Scandinavia. Modern scholarship, however, suggests they more likely came from the Elbe River region in what is now Germany. Roman historians describe them as a tribe that was even fiercer than other Germans. They were first called Winili, which might have meant the fighters, but they would become known to history by a much more literal name. According to their own legend, the Winili were about to face a much larger rival army, the Vandals, who prayed to the god Odin for victory. In a brilliant move, the Winili women tied their long hair under their chins to look like beards and stood in the front lines. When Odin saw them at sunrise, he supposedly asked, "Who are these long beards?" and granted them the win. From then on, they were the Lombardi. It's a fantastic story, but the name more likely comes from the Proto-Germanic words for long and beard, langas and bardas, a simple description of their appearance. The name stuck, the Longbeards. After centuries of migrating south, in the spring of 568 AD, their king, Alboin, led them across the Alps to invade Italy. They weren't just passing through, they came to stay. The Lombards, as they were now called, established a powerful kingdom in northern and central Italy that would last for over 200 years. They never conquered the entire peninsula, as the Byzantine Empire held on to significant territories, but their mark was permanent. In fact, their heartland is still called Lombardy to this day. And they left something else behind too, something carried by millions of people, many of whom have no idea they're connected to this tribe of bearded warriors. They left their names. So, a Germanic tribe called the Longbeards carves out a kingdom, and the region becomes Lombardy. But how does the name of a place become a person's name? It's one of the most common ways surnames are born. As populations grew, people needed more than a single name to tell each other apart. Imagine a man named Marco who moves from Lombardy to Rome. How would people distinguish him from all the other Marcos? They call him Marco the Lombard, or in Italian, Marco Lombardo. His origin became his identifier. Eventually, that description became a fixed hereditary surname. This is a toponymic surname, one derived from a place. This is the direct origin of the surname Lombardy and its variations like Lombardo. It just means someone from Lombardy. Today, Lombardy is one of the top 30 most common last names in Italy. It tells you that somewhere in a family's past, an ancestor migrated out of that northern region. And while the name originated there, it's found all over Italy, especially in southern regions, which shows just how much people moved around. But place names weren't just about regions. Many common Lombardy surnames come from a local landmark. If your family lived near a castle, your name might have become Castelli. Lived in a big country house, maybe Villa. The same is true for names like Fontana, fountain, Pozzi, wells, Riva, riverbank, or Montagna, mountain. Your last name could literally be a map pointing to your ancestors' front door. What if your name doesn't come from a place? Maybe it comes from you. The second major source of a surnames is nicknames, which describe a person's appearance, personality, or something they were known for. This was incredibly common in Italy. The most common surnames like Rossi and Russo simply mean red, likely for an ancestor with red hair. In the same way, Bianchi means white for someone with fair hair or a pale complexion, and Bruno means brown for someone with dark hair or skin. While these names are found in Lombardy, they are generally more common in other parts of Italy. Lombardy surnames definitely follow this pattern too. The name Grasso bluntly means fat. Longo means tall, have curly hair. An ancestor with the same trait could have been the origin of the surname Ricci, which means curly. Some nicknames were a bit more poetic, or maybe mocking. The surname Galli, common in Lombardy, can mean rooster, perhaps for an ancestor who is proud or loud. Gatti means cats. But the most famous surname from Lombardy has to be Fumagalli. The name's origin gives us a perfect window into the medieval world. It literally means smokes the chicken, or more accurately, chicken thief. It likely started as a nickname for an ancestor known for stealing poultry while using smoke to drive the birds out of the henhouse. It's a nickname so specific that has become emblematic of Lombardy, telling a story of everyday life and maybe just a little bit of medieval mischief. There's one more huge category of surnames, occupational names. Just like the English names Smith, Wright, or Baker, Italian surnames often came from an ancestor's trait. This was an obvious way to identify someone in a small town. One of the most common occupational surnames, especially in the North, is Ferrari, which comes from the Latin word for iron and means blacksmith. The person you went to for tools and repairs was known by his trade, and that trade became a family's name. Other examples include barbiere for barber, a job that often included surgery and dentistry back then, or sartori for tailor. Some names denoted higher status, like giudici judges or baroni barons. After their kingdom fell, people from Lombardy became famous across Europe as merchants, bankers, and moneylenders. In places like France and England, the word Lombard actually became a synonym for banker or pawnbroker. In fact, London's famous financial district still has a Lombard Street because it's where these Italian bankers first set up shop in the Middle Ages. Because of this, the surname Lombardi or Lombardo took on a double meaning. It could mean someone from the region of Lombardy, or it could be an occupational surname for a merchant or financier. So, if your last name is Lombardi, your ancestor might have been a simple traveler who left his northern village. Or he could have been part of a powerful network of international financiers who shaped the economy of medieval Europe. The name itself holds both possibilities. From Germanic warriors to medieval bankers, from the color of an ancestor's hair to where they lived, Lombardy surnames carry centuries of history. We've only scratched the surface of a few, but there are thousands more. What's your family name, and what story does it hold? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next one. So, the next time you see the name Lombardy, you'll see the full story. You can see the shadow of a fierce Germanic warrior with a long beard, a traveler leaving his homeland, or a banker shaping medieval finance. Last names are more than just labels. They're living history connecting us to places, jobs, and even the quirks of ancestors we never knew. They remind us that our family story is part of a much larger and often much more surprising human story. And for millions of people, that story started with a tribe that left its mark not just on the map of Italy, but on its people forever.